Hey, I've got a question for you. Who has two thumbs and is ready for another season of Thursday Night Live? This guy. So here we go, season 4, Thursday Night Live is here, and I'm excited to welcome all new guests. I'm excited to talk about all new subjects, and this season's going to be a little different. Last season we had some fun meeting some people in our neighborhood, the helpers around our neighborhood, and so on. And in the past we've talked about struggles like financial worries, marital concerns, mental health struggles, and all that kind of stuff. This season we're going to talk on the theme of surviving. Now, what I mean by that is every one of us faces a challenge sometimes that brings a threat into our life, and we feel like we just don't know how we're going to get through it. And so this season I want to talk to some guests who have demonstrated an ability to survive, to get through the hard stuff. They have endured a challenge, a loss, a sickness, something like that, or they're in the midst of it and they're currently figuring out how to overcome, how to survive, and how to thrive. So maybe you find yourself in a season like that as well. Maybe you find yourself struggling right now to survive. And so I hope this season is an encouragement to you. Hey, welcome back everybody. Tonight we're going to talk about the subject of surviving chronic illness. Tons of people live with conditions, diseases, and tons of symptoms that we may not see every day, but they're battling them maybe internally or behind closed doors. Conditions and diseases such as dementia, Alzheimer's disease, Lou Gehrig's disease, diabetes, multiple sclerosis, all kinds of different problems people have, that a lot of it takes place behind closed doors, and a lot of them look like they're living normal lives, especially in early years, but a lot of them are going through tremendous grief as they process how do I live with this chronic condition and illness. Tonight, my guest is my neighbor next door. Jill Fox is going to join me to talk about her journey of discovering that she was dealing with MS, and now how she's living with it. So here's our conversation. So Jill, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the big time. This is pretty big stuff, let me tell you. The chance to be on Thursday Night Live, people are clamoring for this opportunity.
I thought so.
So
I've watched a few episodes myself.
Yes, it's gaining quite the traction in the online space.
Yes.
No, thanks for coming and for being willing to talk and just share your story. I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself. I know you as my neighbor and friend. Some people know you as Madame Fox. I don't know what other ways people might know you and what experience they've had, but introduce yourselves for everybody who's here tonight.
My name is Jill Fox. I am a recent retired teacher in my books, I guess. I've been married for 14 years to a fabulous, caring, generous man, Darren. I've known him since I was in grade 6.
Aw.
We have 2 beautiful rainbow babies. Love them. They are my world. Macy is 9 and in grade 4, and Lily is almost 12 and in grade 6.
Yep.
Yeah, no pets, unfortunately. but we have
but
the neighbor dog.
She's working on Darren though.
Yeah.
We've heard stories. I will say your kids are some of the sweetest and the most hilarious kids that we've met. So
they keep us on our toes.
We've learned their knock at the door now. We know this knock. Oh, there's Lily and Macy.
Oh, I remember all the little princess parties that they had out back with Ella and Eden, and it's
Yeah.
been years of friendship, not only for you two, you and Heidi, but for our kids as well. And we're definitely blessed in that part. Have wonderful neighbors.
Yeah, we do too. We feel it. So you said recent retired teacher, and that's probably the biggest change that's come recently in your life, or one of them. We're here to talk about surviving or living with chronic illness. And my hope in all these conversations is that people who are struggling with stuff like this find hope and find encouragement, and maybe just a little bit of grace to continue and go on. Tell us your journey a little bit. I don't know where you start and how you start that. It's pretty big.
I know. I'm actually a survivor of a lot, but we're here to talk about my recent diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. It started when I was 27 years old, and I was living in Ontario, going to the Canadian Automotive Institute. I remember an afternoon I was in the cafeteria there, and all of a sudden everything went really dark. I could see shadows, but I couldn't see faces. It was really scary. I wasn't sure what had happened. In hindsight, I know now. In the next couple of years, I had a lot of tingling and numbness in my fingers and toes, to the point once where I burnt my socks once, and I burnt my feet once. I thought my feet were cold, so I had put them up against a fireplace at a friend's, and my socks were burning, and I didn't feel that.
Wow.
And I've also put them in the hot water of the bathtub, and not realized that I couldn't feel that it was actually something else. Along with that, when I would bend my head forward, it felt like a fire was shooting down to my feet.
Really?
Yeah, and which has been something nice when I was on duty as a teacher in the winter, because I don't like the cold, but so I would tilt my head often to warm my body up. But anyway, there are positives, I guess. So at 27, I went to a neurologist in St. John, and he told me that the symptom I was having with the heat going to my feet and the fingers and the toes and everything would be explained by a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. At the time, because I wasn't technically in any type of relapse, and multiple sclerosis is one of the hardest diseases to diagnose, he couldn't confirm.
Okay.
3 years ago, I realized I was making my coffee in the morning, and I would take my cup like this, traveling from the kitchen to the living room, and it would drop, and I would pour the coffee everywhere. I couldn't get my mug to stay up.
To be fair, that is a big mug.
It is a big mug.
It's quite heavy.
We like Starbucks. Anyway, I kept doing that and making a mess and having to clean it up, and then all of a sudden I realized I was also losing my balance.
Okay.
My right foot wouldn't pick up when I wanted it to. So I couldn't really figure out what was wrong, and I made an appointment with my family doctor, and she quickly referred me back to the neurologist I had met when I was 27.
Oh, wow.
And confirmed a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis.
So what was that like at 27 and then years later? Do you remember that moment?
At 27, I felt I was invincible, and I thought, I'm going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know, I'm still functioning, a little tingle in my fingers and toes, and I had actually just recently undergone pituitary surgery. I had a pituitary tumor, and I thought, I don't need this on my plate. I can handle it. Just keep on keeping on.
Yeah.
So at 27, I kind of just threw it off. But when I got referred in the last 3 years in 2018 to go back to the neurologist, I knew right away. I think in hindsight, I knew.
Yeah.
I got the phone call from my family physician to go meet with her, and I came out. She had told me the information. I came out. I, of course, try to reach Darren. He's at work and he's busy. I drove straight to my mom and dad's house, and I made it into the front door and collapsed.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, I think that was the darkest, scariest point in my life. I think I was beside myself. I could hardly pick myself up off the floor. Been strong since that day, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You needed that crash.
I think so.
Yeah.
Because that's a place I don't ever want to go back to.
Yeah. You always, every time we see you, and I think probably most people see you, you're upbeat, conversational, chatty, laughing, almost all the time.
Yeah.
So I don't think people would realize the depth of what that day or that point in time was like for you.
I actually had one of the kindest compliments, crazy cool compliments last night. I had a friend compliment me saying I reminded her of Pink, who was all bubbly and outgoing. And I'm like, yes, that's the way I want people to see me, because that's what I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
When you're diagnosed with MS, there's a few really scary things that can happen, and one of them is a deep depression.
Okay.
And not wanting to come out, not wanting people to see me stumble, walk sideways or trip. I trip a lot, fall in front of anyone. So people with the change of lifestyle opt to not go anywhere, and they go into a deep depression. And I don't want that to be me. I have kids, I have friends that support me. There's always something to look forward to, something to be positive about.
Mm-hmm. That's
how I roll with things. I have to keep that going.
Yeah.
And so compliments like that, I don't mean to fish for them, but I love them. It really, honestly, they feed me, you know. So also helping others, doing something like this, someone who's struggling to be able to deal with something like this. Like, I would love to be there for someone, or say something that just makes them go, yeah, you know what, I can do it too.
Yeah. So how has your life changed over the last 3 years, especially? I mean, it's been since you're 27, but how has this
is the hard part for me. And I try to stay very positive about this. When I think about the job I had, I honestly had the best job in the world. Mm-hmm. It's so exciting to wake up in the morning and be excited to go to work. It's not just a paycheck. Mm-hmm. It's teaching for me was so much fun, and making it fun for the students. And when they laughed, I laughed. But mm-hmm. you know, I shared moments with my students too. I was teaching when I started tripping and falling and not being able to lift my leg, or exhaustion is a big part of it. Tired a lot.
Okay.
And I'd tell them, I was honest with them what was going on. At first I had told them that I had a problem with one of my knees, because I wasn't sure until after. I didn't want them to be concerned. Anyway, the kids were supportive even. But I was a French immersion teacher as well, and being exhausted, I need to listen to my body. Some days I can only make it till 9 o'clock in the morning. Doing my workout in the morning is all I've got. Some days I need to fall asleep at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but almost every day I'm in bed by 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
Being a teacher takes many more hours than that. At least being successful to the point that I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have the energy to make it through the day. Because I didn't have time to sit down and maybe have a 10-minute nap. You can't do that as a teacher. I would come home from school and have absolutely nothing left for my own kids, for my own family. And it wasn't fair. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to me. It wasn't fair to the students anymore because I was exhausted. I struggled with multitasking. I always said to the kids, Madame Fox can only do one thing at a time, like one person at a time, because I struggle with that, and I struggle with finding my words sometimes. It's on the tip of my tongue a lot, or it's in my mind. I know what I want to say, but I can't get it out.
That's a symptom
Yes.
of MS?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, and it's one of my ones that I struggle with daily. So French being my second language, even though I've spoken it for years, I still will run through trying to find the English word sometimes that I can't find. So I'll try to find the French word and I'll struggle again. So to me, I see people and I think that they hear me struggle when I can't find the word. The pause isn't supposed to be there. I notice it, but others might not.
Right.
It's exhausting. It really is, because it's struggling through normal things that would normally come easily for others, I guess.
You're like over functioning.
Yeah.
To try to make up the difference, maybe.
Right. Yeah. So then I need those naps more, I guess, or a stressful situation, and I will start to trip again, and have to hold myself up. Yeah. Stress is really a trigger.
So was it sheer exhaustion that brought you to the place where you decided, I'm going to have to stop teaching, or at least
start taking care of myself? Oh yeah, exhaustion, and everyone who knows, who has worked in the school system or even had kids of your own that went to school, know that probably teaching is not the least stressful job in the world.
Yeah.
Especially right now with the pandemic, I guess, I think that the stress load probably would have been too much. And I kind of feel like I left on my terms. It's sad, I guess. I have, an ache in my body. I still want to be there. And I still feel like I'm young and I shouldn't be retired, but obviously my brain has told me something different, so I have to make the best of it.
Yeah, listening to your body and not your heart.
Yeah,
is a totally different.
It's hard.
Different thing, isn't it? So, how have you? I mean, it's so early. It was just this past fall when you officially retired, right? Mm-hmm. How have you started to sort of rediscover who you are, maybe as not just a teacher or not just someone with MS? Who are you apart from these kind of defining things?
Well, it's been a journey. I guess I should clarify. I'm technically not retired. I'm on long-term disability until I'm 65, but I won't be teaching again. So I am retired from teaching here in this lifetime, I guess. Defining me, there was one time Macy had a supply teacher, and the supply teacher, as teachers normally do, said, anyone who has a teacher for a parent can line up. Well, Macy didn't know what to do. And she actually, by the time we dealt with it after school, she was in tears. Oh. She says, I don't know what you are anymore, Mom. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. So I realized how much it's affected everyone in my family, me being here and not going to work. One thing is for certain, I have the certification to prove it. I will always be a teacher. I am a teacher. I just don't happen to be teaching right now. Because if I could ever work again, that's what I would do.
Yeah. Just loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being home all day, though, I set too high of requirements for myself, I think, because I think that someone that is 45 years old and looks healthy on the outside should be able to have an immaculate house and supper ready and lunch ready and the laundry done and the kids' beds made and all that. But
I do hear the washer running or the dryer.
Yeah.
So good job.
Thank you.
Me and some of those
I
things.
feel accomplished a
You reached
little
the
bit
bar.
for today.
Today.
I know, but some days I can't. I struggle to get anything done.
Yeah.
And so I feel I was, and here's one of my word struggles, not good enough, if there's a word there.
I'm with you. I've got the word struggle.
Yeah, like incompetent,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah.
I had a bad day, like I wasn't any good, I didn't do enough to make my family happy when they come home. So, but those are pressures that I put on myself. They've let me know that they understand I'm on sick leave and it's not something I can always help or,
Yeah.
I make my kids nervous more so than anything because I want to try their scooter. I want to try their hoverboard.
Yes.
And they're like, no mom. So I'm not allowed because my balance is completely off.
Yeah.
I have to have a seat to put my shoes on.
Yeah.
I fall over when I go to put my snow pants on or take them off. And that scares them. I've fallen a few times in front of them, but they're very supportive. Like, here mom, I'll help you. But at the same time, it's heartbreaking because they're young and vibrant and I should be young and vibrant and they shouldn't be helping me yet.
Yeah.
But
So many shoulds, eh?
I know.
That we put on ourselves. How have you, like, I don't know how you make such a fast transition from, okay, I'm full-time, working, busy, out in the community, all those things, to now I'm on disability. That's a fast turn. Like,
Yeah.
you must have to grieve a lot still. There must be days. Maybe you don't let yourself go there.
Maybe I don't let myself go there. I'm so scared. I have a fear of going there and not being able to come back. I guess I have my moments. I have my days where I'm just like, ugh, that's it for today, or I can't take any more today.
Yeah.
I think I have a right to those moments, and I own those moments. But I've been busy. We've done some renovations in our house, which actually worked out for the time being because we've made sure our house now is officially, I don't ever have to move from here.
Right.
So the renovations kept me busy. Summer will keep me busy. We've had some changes in my family as well. My father passed away and my mother 8 days later had a stroke.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm helping her at her house with some things, and so that keeps me busy. I'd like to read. As a teacher, I don't take the time to read novels and stuff as much as I should, but I should do that. I have a journal. I keep a journal because memory is another issue for me.
Okay.
I forget a lot. So I have a journal that I've created into like a calendar, and it keeps me in touch with what I have to get done each day, especially with the girls being in sports and stuff.
Yeah.
Things pass by me all the time.
Yeah.
So it's I love to doodle and things like that, so it's kind of artsy and creative, so I spend time doing that.
Nice.
I could spend more time catching up with old friends, but they're all at work. I don't know.
Those jerks.
Yeah. I do have coffee time with a couple of my friends on Wednesday afternoons, which keeps me going too. They kept me going during playgroup, and they seem to keep me going now too.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What maybe blessings would be the word have you seen in spite of the hard stuff? What blessings have you seen, and maybe have you seen God in the
My mother always
darkness maybe?
told me that God only gives you what you can handle. And like I said, I've been through a lot over the years. And
Mother Teresa added to that, eh?
yeah, exactly.
Have you heard that?
No.
They say God won't give you more than you can handle. I just wish you didn't trust me so much.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I have said that before. I say, well, God must think I'm awfully strong. And I think saying that reminds me that I am strong. The blessings that I've found in this, and I've caught myself before, and I apologize to anyone dealing with MS who really is struggling. I have actually said, aren't I lucky to have MS? Well, I don't mean it that way. It's been a blessing in a weird way. My father has been ill for many years, and he actually passed away March 14th, and he had a lot of appointments to attend to in St. John and things like that.
Yeah.
So I was able, since March 13th of last year, because of COVID, and then through my retirement, take him and spend those days with him in St. John, and stop at the blueberry farm and pick up some muffins and take the old roads back through Harvey, and he would show me where he had installed poles back when he worked for NB Power.
Okay.
So I'll never forget those things now, and stories that he had shared with me before his passing. So that was a blessing that I had that time to spend with him. And like I said, 8 days later, my mom had a stroke and needed support, and I was home. And I don't know what we would have done. Not that I was able to fix everything, but I was there as a person that she obviously needed at the time. So maybe I have to remind myself of those blessings in disguise in order to keep positive every day.
Yeah. Yeah, often only see them in reverse, eh?
Yeah, it's weird how things work.
Yeah.
I spoke to one of my counselors from the member of the New Brunswick Teachers Federation yesterday, and he even said, you know, the stress that I have gone through with COVID and the passing of my dad and my mom, it is a blessing in disguise that I had chosen prior to all of these things to take my retirement, perhaps because stress is one of the biggest triggers of an MS relapse. And to be honest, that is my biggest fear in having this disease is the what's next.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen next, and with relapsing, remitting MS, I'm blessed, I guess, once again, to have that type. It's not permanent disability from every relapse. You have a relapse and then you recover up to 95% before you have another relapse. So
I was going to ask you to tell us what relapse means.
Okay.
I think you kind of did there.
Yeah, so my relapse last time was I had lost control of my right side. Honest, and the funny part, I try to stay positive, is you should have seen me try to pluck my eyebrows. It was dangerous. But my handwriting was off, and that really bothered me as a teacher.
Yeah.
But anyway, I recovered the 95%, and when my body is calm and cool, I can function normally. But when my body heats up, so after exercise or trying to run, I used to be a runner, I start to trip, and it's called foot drop, and I drag that foot again, or I lose my dexterity of my right hand.
Yeah.
So I'm no longer on the treadmill running,
Right.
but I like to walk, so a relapse will be the next time the myelin I explain to my students, your brain functions like a message board, and you have a fil electric
wire?
with the plastic coating around it.
Yeah.
Well, my immune system thinks that plastic coating is wrong, and so my immune system is destroying it. And as it destroys it, it opens up that plastic covering, and so if I try to send a message to lift my right foot, it goes down the cord but shoots out, so then I can't lift my right foot. That would be a relapse.
Okay.
The medication that I'm on tries to stop my immune system from thinking that that's bad. I'm currently on a medication that isn't working. So that's a whole other struggle, is preparing to go on a new medication.
Right.
So back to these relapses, it also makes it so that the time between each relapse hopefully is longer.
Okay.
So we're hoping
Yeah.
each one, and that's what relapsing remitting is. My fear, I guess, is what next. I want to always be able to care for my kids. That's when I discovered I had MS. I think that was in my heart was, what about my children?
Right.
How am I going to parent through this? So I always say what my biggest fear is what's next. There's the fear of waking up from sleep and not being able to see. And that can happen as I choke through that, because I think, oh, the world's beautiful for so many ways, that be able to look at my daughters, my husband, whatever.
Yeah.
That is heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
But those, once again, I remind myself that I would deal with it and stay positive and work through it in hopes to get back into remittance again, I guess.
Right.
And so currently I'm on a drug that my last MRI shows I have 6 active lesions, which means there's 6 places in my brain that the MS is arguing with the coverage, I guess. Which means the drug I'm on obviously isn't working.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start, and I take that daily by pill. I'm going to start a new drug, which sounds better because I'll only take it twice a year, but it's through intravenous, and it's 3 to 5 hours. So I have to find something to doodle or read for those 2 days a year. But it really decreases my immune system, because that's what these autoimmune fighting drugs do. And right now, being in a pandemic, I had to make sure that I had all my vaccines up to date.
Right.
So the whole getting my vaccine at 45 in the beginning was hard. I ended up falling under the category of someone with 3 health concerns.
Yeah.
Got my first, and then I thought I was going to have to wait 13 to 14 weeks until my next one, or 14 to 16, I think it was. And that kind of discouraged me a bit then, because I really want to be on a drug that is working for me.
Yeah.
Fortunately, my neurologist and my family physician got in touch with public health and explained my situation, and they got me right away into my 2nd dose of vaccine. So I'm fully vaccinated. the next step is to get my shingles vaccine because I had chickenpox at the age of 31, plastered. But because I have to take a daily dose of steroids for my pituitary gland, my body doesn't recognize that I've had chickenpox.
Yeah.
So I have to have a shingles vaccine. So I have that, wait another month, I think it's 28 days, and then I wash out this drug. That takes 11 days. And then I can start my new drug in hopes that it works.
Right.
So
many
it's quite a process.
steps and
Yeah.
unknowns.
Yeah.
Without guarantees at the end.
There's never a guarantee. I think maybe that's part of staying positive, is having to accept that there's no guarantees.
Yeah. So where do you find your hope these days?
Hope comes basically in the faces of a 9 and an 11-year-old, a 46-year-old husband, my mom, my sister, her significant other, family, friends, neighbors. I think honestly,
Good volleyball game in the back.
yeah, exactly. My patio is peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
I like it there. It'd be nice if we had a pool, wouldn't it, Darren? And we could have a joint pool. I don't know.
Settle for a hot tub, probably.
Yeah, maybe.
If we had
Yeah.
to.
In case we need a place for the dog to run.
That's right.
Hope. I don't know. I've never really thought about it, but I think honestly, I've always said it takes a village to raise kids. Well, it takes a village to keep yourself up and functioning and going as well.
Yeah.
And we need to start using these resources. You're never in it alone. You just have to find that person that can guide you to where you can find someone to be with, or
That's
someone
good.
who understands.
That's good. Have you found support community like in the MS world? Like, is there have you found people that are further along in this than you that you've looked to, or have you found groups that you're part of, or is that still out there?
It's all through the internet. Not necessarily as much locally, I guess. There's not really groups per se. I know people who struggle with MS, and they know I struggle with MS. It's almost like an unspoken bond when we talk about little things or changes, but it's not a group that meets or anything like that. Maybe that's something I could look into or start, because I like to talk, so I could be in charge of that. But the thing is, like, once again, it's committing to a routine, a daily time restrictions or time commitments, I guess, is a really difficult thing when you don't know when you're going to be feeling well and you don't know if you're going to be up. So I guess that would keep you more to using the internet to find these groups when you're feeling good, I guess, or when you need. I like to participate in things that the MS Society of Canada does. Right now, for the month of May, it is in Australia, where I have family. They call it the 50K in May.
Okay.
And so I've encouraged my cousins not to support it, and so they're doing their 50K in May. And in Canada, it's the MS Walk, which is May 30th. It's a Sunday, and so I'm going to, it's rain or shine, reach out to a few people who want to join me. I'm going to do the 5K loop, leaving from my house probably around 1 o'clock on that Sunday, and tell people if they want to join, they can join.
Yeah.
MS doesn't define me, so I don't want to always be talking about it with my friends. I don't want to put that pressure on them.
Yeah.
I love that they're sounding boards for me.
Yeah.
And I like to be able to say, hey, this and this, because then I can see their reaction and feel how they think about that, or,
Yeah.
you know, should I try zip lining? That type of thing. Stuff like that. But I don't want it to be what people think of right when they see me.
Right.
As well.
Yeah. Yep. Totally get it.
Yeah.
Well, as to the point I can get it.
In a supportive manner.
In a supportive way, I get it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't define you. Like, we are more than what we do. We are more than, like, I'm more than a pastor or coach or diabetic.
Right.
I'm more than a dad or a husband. We're all these things, right?
Right.
And so yeah, I love it.
I was actually told the other day that there are people out there that don't realize I'm not just on sick leave, that they still think I'll be returning to teach. Mm-hmm. They don't realize that MS is like a train. I've made it this far in my MS journey. There's no coming back. I will never get my foot drop back. Right. Stuff like that. There's
Gotcha.
Because there's no cure, there's no healing. And we're just trying to stop the progress of the train.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm on sick leave, but I'm not, unless there's a cure, I'm not getting better. So I am retired.
Yeah.
Just things like that.
Yeah.
And
so maybe I don't know how you wrap up this stuff, but maybe just speak to somebody who's just found out, or maybe has been living this for years. Maybe just a word of, like, just what would you say to someone who's struggling with some sort of illness? It doesn't have to be MS, but just illness that
there's
they
so
know
many
is...
different levels of MS, and I know that there are so many people out there that are dealing with it so much more severe than I am. So I feel like I wouldn't want to say something that out of turn, I guess, but I can speak to people that are struggling with dealing with finding out they have an illness. And
something that, apart from,
I guess,
a miracle is not going away. I'm going to deal with this forever.
Right.
Or for the rest of my life.
Yeah. It's all touchy because I don't want... Everybody's experience is genuine to themselves. No one... It's like grief. Not one person grieves in the exact same way. There's no journal or a booklet that tells you this is how you grieve and get over things.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not the person to say this is how you should grieve to get over it, but I want you to know that you're not alone. And I work every day through the struggle to make sure I stay positive. I have my own ways of doing it, and I would love to hear if you'd like to make your own ways of doing it, I guess. It's back to that, you're not alone. And I love coffee, so if you just want to have coffee, we can do that so that you don't feel alone.
Yep.
I'm like blessed mostly with the village that I have as a support system.
Yeah.
So I want to be there for others if they need a support system of their own.
Love it.
And I have bad dad jokes too that can make you laugh.
You don't have to be a dad to
Yeah, I know.
bad jokes, right?
Yeah.
Huh. Nice. Well, this has been great. Thanks for being willing to share your journey.
Thanks, Neil.
It's different than someone else's, but there's probably a lot of similar threads in it. And thanks for being one to give hope, share it, not keep it to yourself. You've embraced a village around you of your support network. Thanks for being willing to enter someone else's village as you journey through this.
Thank you, Neil. And one shout out to all my former students. Love you guys. Miss you tons.
Hey Jill, thanks so much. You did a great job sharing and giving hope to people who are struggling and trying to figure out their own journey through chronic battles and illnesses that many are facing. The word was insufficient. That was the word she was looking for, everybody. And I gotta say, I don't think you're insufficient at all, Jill. You do a great job. And any of you who are battling, like we are, like I am too, with a chronic condition or illness, we are not insufficient. We just have some other things that we're working through each day on top of the normal stuff. And it takes a village, as Jill says. It takes supportive people to help get through days that are tough. So hang in there. If you're one who's battling with these conditions and these struggles, hang in there. And if you're one who loves somebody who is battling chronic illness, hang in there. You are their greatest ally, their greatest support. Let me remind everybody that, we believe here at Woodstock Wesleyan, hope always begins with a relationship with Jesus Christ. And if you want to know more about that, I'd love to have you reach out to us at care@woodstockwesleyan.org or give us a call. The number's on the screen. You can reach us there. One of the things that I caught that Jill said that is tough for us who battle chronic illness is listening to our bodies, because our minds and our hearts tell us we should be able to do so much more, or I want to go do this, so I should and I will. And sometimes there are limitations that we have to find a way to embrace. And a lot of us don't like limits being put on us, but God gives us grace for those times. And I want to read you again our theme verses for this Thursday Night Live series from Isaiah chapter 40, verses 27 to 31. You people of Israel say, God pays no attention to us, and he doesn't care if we are treated unjustly. But how can you say that? Don't you know, haven't you heard? The Lord is the eternal God, creator of the earth. He never gets weary or tired. His wisdom cannot be measured. The Lord gives strength to those who are weary. Even young people get tired, then stumble and fall. But those who trust the Lord will find new strength. They will be strong like eagles, soaring upward on wings. They will walk and run without getting tired. It's great to know when we get tired that God doesn't. We can lean on him, we can reach out to him, we can ask him for his help, and he gives strength to those who are weary. That's his promise to us today. So thanks again to Jill for being part of tonight, for sharing her journey. Thanks so much to you for watching, for listening, and for being part of Thursday Night Live. We'll see you again next week.